We use Brivity CRM for everything that we do, from our lead generation, like calls, notes, tasks. We manage all of our transactions in Brivity. We run all of our Facebook ads in Brivity. It has its own dialer as well. We got into real estate to run our own businesses. And if you don't know your numbers, you're not running a business.
This is the Be More Show for agents, where you'll find real talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it, all tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy.
Guys, I can't believe that just happened. Literally, we're interviewing Landon for near 40 minutes of genius. And I must not have hit the start on the record button. So sorry. We're here to do this again.
Let's do it.
Oh my God, I hate myself
We'll do our best.
Here's my Landon story, besides his super patience in this. Okay, so I was introduced to Landon from Drew, a guy on his team. And when we first got introduced, Drew was like, hey, hop on a Zoom with this girl. Like, she's pretty cool or whatever. We get on the Zoom, and Landon actually has a face that's looking very similar than what it does right now when he his irritation. He was like, whatever you're selling, I don't want it. Like, straight up, I don't want it. Right, Landon?
That's pretty close. It's not verbatim. So Drew was and is an agent on my team. And he came to me and he was like, I just listened to this podcast and I just talked to this girl, Shelby, and I think you should really talk to her. They're doing a lot of the same things that we're doing. And at that time, we were with Keller Williams, and we were getting into doing a lot of investment work that didn't really jive. And I was like, I will meet with her because I respect you saying that I should meet with her, but we're not moving firms. He was like, just meet with her. So yeah, I got on, and basically the first thing I said was, look, full transparency, I'm on this because I told Drew I would, and I respected Drew enough to do it. But I have no interest in any EXP. And
fast forward
like
2 months.
2 or 3 months. Let's do it.
When you find the people who get it, it's like really hard not to want to like hang out, which is, yeah, you guys both understand. But anyway, Allie, hit with some stats.
Yeah, so fast forwarding to EXP stuff, these are your stats, and it's crazy. In the last 3 months, you've done 16 transactions. You were one away from making Icon, which I'll explain in a bit. But this year alone, you're on track to make well over $200,000 in GCI. And you're not just an agent. You also have a property management company. You're a GC. You do all the things. So that's just your
investor,
your revenue from from being an agent, which is crazy. You're definitely going to make Icon this year, which means that you do you cap, you essentially give, the brokerage $16,000, and then you do an additional number of transactions, and you can get that entire cap back in the form of stock, which is insane. It's essentially you paying nothing to the brokerage. So that's awesome. You're killing it.
The man.
Oh, so okay. We start the show off always. Now that we've hyped you up, we want to know your most embarrassing or show moment. Let's hear it from you.
Okay, cool. So, like I said in the last recording.
Oh my God, I hate myself.
Which was not the recording. I don't really view it as embarrassing anymore. It's really hard for me to get embarrassed. But the dumbest thing that I've done for sure is I shot myself in the leg on accident. And
well, I would hope not on purpose.
No, it wasn't on purpose. I wasn't like, let's figure out what this feels like. Even though I had always had that internal question of, I wonder what it'd feel like to get shot. I found out, and I don't recommend it.
You fucked around and found out.
Yeah.
Well,
yep. I actually shot a gun for the first time since that incident, which was June 2018, 2 weeks ago. We went to the range and had to break out all of my enemies.
Did you have PTSD moments where you're like, oh, my leg hurts?
I really didn't for the first few months and maybe even up to a year after that happened, because it really wasn't very eventful. It was something that happened, and then I healed from it. But for a while, like watching like movies and TV shows, when a gunshot would happen, I would subconsciously like flinch, and I didn't even know it was happening until like Caitlin, my wife, like asked me about it. She's like, "Does that bother you?" I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, you full on flinch every time a gun goes off. And over the time, I got out of it.
Dude. Well, yeah, and now it's so you mentioned how you were super calm in that situation when, you shot yourself, and then, calmly had your wife call 911, you're going to drive yourself to the hospital, all chill. But you said, and I thought that that meant that you handled everything with such calm, cool collection, but it turns out when you first got into real estate, like getting shot was better than agent life. Is that
Yeah,
true?
I would agree. Yes, I definitely handled that night a lot better than I was handling transactions that were also happening around that. Like, shooting myself was kind of a blessing. It put me on the couch for a few days. I mean, I was out showing homes on crutches the same week that it happened, but it did allow me to slow down for a second. But yeah, I wasn't handling the stress of real estate very well my first year, to say.
And that was back 2018.
That was 2018. Yep.
2018 life. And then that first year, all the stress and crazy and burnout turned into, what does 2019 through now look like?
So 2018, I sold $7.5 million in volume. It was about 33 transactions my first year in real estate, even shooting myself in the leg. But about five of that was in the first 4 or 5 months of that year. And as I was approaching summer around this time, I was starting to get burnt out. I was working so late. I didn't have a life. I was taking phone calls at 9 p.m. with sellers that didn't see the problem in that. And like, I just didn't want to do it anymore. I went to school to get into law. I sold suits for a living up until I quit and got into real estate. And the reason I made that decision was a couple different reasons. One was I got to know a good amount of lawyers while I was working at Men's Warehouse, and I was a store manager. And the good ones, I learned that they worked a lot. And then the bad ones made me not want to be associated with lawyers. So I started to notice these other people, though, these people in real estate, whether they were salespeople or mortgage lenders, they were way better clients. They were happier. They also spent money more freely. And so I started like befriending them and talking to them while I was in college. And there was kind of a shift that I wanted to do real estate one day. And 2016, I bought my first house. 2 months later, I bought my first flip. 2 weeks later, I quit my full-time job that was paying me really well. Then I got my
Love
license
that.
and got into real estate. But by the end of 2018, I didn't want to do it anymore because all of this freedom that I signed up for just didn't exist.
It's a joke. I have a question.
Yeah.
Where did your leads for your 33, like a brand new agent, you closed most of them in the very first couple months of being licensed, like where did that lead flow come from?
For sale by owners, expireds, we would have leads that would come into the office, and I was just extremely aggressive in being the first person that answered the phone or the first person that called them. But a good majority, like those internet leads, were harder leads for me to work. For sale by owners really did it. My first client I've worked with 3 or 4 times in my career now, she was a for sale by owner. I called her at a call night that we had decided to put on, me and another brand new agent with one of the other agents in our office, and she screamed at me. But I got her to agree to let me call her back in 2 weeks. And that's something that we coach on. Like, whenever we get on the phone, don't set an appointment, get an email and an excuse to call back. And I did that. And why we teach that now is because of that. So I called 2 weeks later. She yelled at me, but she said something really powerful. Turns out this lady was a very successful business coach. She was like, I understand that fortune is in the follow-up, and don't think that I don't recognize that you're following up.
Oof.
And then she yelled at me again because she just did not like
Just
real
testing
estate
you.
agents. Maybe.
Literally. Yeah.
2 or 3 days later, I'm sleeping in, being lazy, and I get
Yeah.
woken up to this phone call, and it's her. And she's like, I'm sick and tired of all of these agents calling me. I'm sick and tired of them saying the same things.
We love your DMs on Instagram, and as long as you don't sound like a bot or aren't sharing your overnight crypto success, hit us up on Instagram. Let's be friends. We're at The Shelby Show and at Allie the Agent.
You seem like you actually cared, and you're actually the only person that said they would call and follow up and did. Will you just come and list my house,
Wow.
please? And that's what
Wow.
started it. I held an open house. I got a client off of that open house that ended up being a buyer off of another for sale by owner that I was able to work with. Then once I sold that house, she referred me to someone in the neighborhood. Then they referred me to
Gotcha.
someone in the neighborhood. Then they referred me to someone in the neighborhood.
Isn't that fun how that works? Where it's like you're doing the right actions, you're doing the things that suck that people don't want to do, calling, and then the follow up that you're supposed to do, and then one relationship just domino effects and trickles into like building a business. What do you know?
Yeah, and a lot of us give up because we get that one person that came through our open house. But a lot of the time, it's that one person that's going to buy a house with you, or that one person. We have an agent that has held his listing open several times, and it took a lot of like talking about open houses and the purpose. Like it has nothing to do with selling the listing. It has
Right.
everything to do with the people that walk through there. And he held this open house. It was at a weird time too. He was like, no one was going to come at this. And I said, you don't know that. So he did it. He had one person show up. That one person is an extremely ready to go investor that will buy in perpetuity as long as we do a good job. So it just takes that one and it becomes this snowball. Like 60% of my business this year is repeat clients. 20% of it is referral clients. And then the rest is for sale by owner, circle prospecting, like all of the work. But some of those closings are actually referrals from the work that we put in, and we lose sight of that in some of the tracking.
I think, well, what thing I was going to say real quick is that I think it's so cool that you know the percentage of where your closings are coming from, because that's just like this thing that you're like glossing right over. But even tracking what areas are producing your leads and then doubling down on those areas is just something that I feel like is missing in so many real estate businesses. But to jump, so you've mentioned your team several times, and we know what your first year looked like and started the team. So where are you now in your journey?
Now we have 6 agents on our team. 2 of them have been with me since the beginning. They're day one, the OGs.
Love it.
But now we have 6 agents on our team. I have a goal to bring on 1 to 2 agents every month now that we have kind of ironed out our onboarding and being able to really back that guarantee that we have that an agent can close 2 or more transactions every month with us, even within their first year. So now that we kind of have that proof of concept going, like we're locked, loaded, and ready to roll.
That's awesome. Tell us more about your onboarding for the new
Process.
agents. Yep.
So our onboarding is entirely based on their goals. Like, why are we meeting in the first place? I take the same approach to my clients. Like, you want to get into investing? Why? Tell me more about why you think that this is the way you want to do it. There's plenty of ways to make money out in the world. There's plenty of ways to make passive income out in the world. Why real estate? So we kind of have that conversation. I want to know, like, are you doing this because you saw on social media that it might be easy? Or are you doing this because you're tired of doing what you're doing right now and you're willing to do whatever it takes to enter the next phase in your life? Are you growth minded or are you fixed minded? So we kind of have that conversation, and then we talk about their financial goals and we set up everything around that. So when I talk financial goals, I want to know several levels. If you're familiar with the hierarchy of needs, it starts with basic food and shelter. You can't think about relationships. You can't think about self-betterment or self-improvement or any of the other things unless you have this. And so we approach our finances in the same way. And so we need to know, like, up front, and I don't need to know, But you need to know, and it's surprising how many people don't know, like, what do you need to breathe? What's that amount per month that you need to make so that you don't feel like you can't breathe? Like, it's that financial restricting. Things like pay your rent and eat. Like, if you were to strap everything else down, what do you need to breathe? Then what do you need to live? Like, to cover all of those expenses, but then go out every once in a while, like live a normal life. What does thriving look like to you? And at a lot of times, once we get to this stage, we're talking more in terms of experiences and instead of money. A lot of people are like, I want to make six figures my first year in real estate. What are you going to do with every one of those $100,000 that you make? You've never seen anything close to that in your life. Like, let's talk through it. Let's set up a plan. What I find is most people are satisfied with 50% of whatever that number is that they've thrown out. But at that thrive is, it's more like, what kind of vacations do you want to be going on? Or how much time would you like to be taking off? What would you like to see yourself doing? Thriving. And then, like, let's dream. Like, let's go crazy. Let's look at a lifestyle that maximizes what you see being amazing for you and your family, and how much, and then we kind of reverse engineer those and look at how much it would take. Then we jump back into business mode.
No, I was just like, I think that's so cool that I think that most people, even like me now, if you asked me all of those things, I wouldn't have the distinct clarity that I think that it's really powerful that you're having your people do, because then in those moments when it is hard, you have already like put the flag post in the ground and know they can feel it, touch it. And actually, did they do this through Vivid Vision, or this is your own version?
No, I mean, I would imagine that there's a level of influence that I got from Vivid Vision when I read that kind of plays into this. But it's really just experience based, and through a lot of the training and the coaching that I've personally gone through.
Totally.
If you tell me you want to sell 24 houses a year, Shelby, and I am your coach and I'm going to hold you accountable to that, like, unless you know where every single one of those closings are going to do, like, I'm just a gnat in your ear when I'm telling you you're not doing what it takes. I mean, I've had conversations with agents where they're like, I just threw that out there. It would have been nice, but I'm happy where I'm at. Well, cool. As a team leader of this team, I don't care how many deals you do. What I care is that you fulfill the commitments that you made to me and the rest of your team. If you want to close 10 deals, great. If you want to close 50, phenomenal. I am happier with the person that wants to close 10 and then does the work and closes 12 than I am the one that wants to close 50 and does the work to close 24. Because it's all about your level of commitment with me and being aligned with your goals.
And so after you do this is a phase one of onboarding, and or like I guess pre. So then what does it look like day 1, 2, etc.?
Yeah. So from those financial numbers, you got to breathe before you can live. Kanye says you got to crawl before you can ball. But day one of onboarding, after we've taken a look at all of these goals that they have, and we've turned them into units sold. If you want to make $70,000 in our market, you've got to close about 20 transactions. If you want to make $100,000 in our market, you've got to close 25 to 30, depending upon price and all of that stuff. But we line these up in units, and then we break them down to daily activities. So they have these numbers flowing in their head. All I got to do is talk to 10 people every single day, and I'll be on track with my income goal. I can do two things. I can get better at those conversations, or I can talk to more people to make more money. But in the beginning, day one, when you join our team, back to your question, Shelby, is we get you set up. We get you into all of our systems. We have a great training back end. Like, if you want to know how to run an open house, you just need a login from us. You'll get over to our back end website, and it's got all of the training material, the scripts, videos, role playing, all of the stuff there for you to do it. Now, we do one-on-one, and we script practice live, and we shadow, and we make sure that everyone's well equipped. But for me, I want the agents that are willing to take that time and find the answers for themselves first and then ask for help to get better. So they have all of this access, but then day 2, we're calling 1,000 people in that
So
day. Day
crazy.
2 of being on our team
Oh
is
my
that's the goal.
God. Dude. I've never heard of that in my life, and I think it's badass.
Y'all should try it.
Yeah, I feel like I
Shit,
don't have the
maybe I
balls for that. Maybe.
should.
Right? Okay.
I'll give
Maybe
you my
challenge
Mojo
Alec.
login for a day.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, so that's a good question. So many questions. But the 1,000 calls, you said you use Mojo. What other systems do you use to knock out that 1,000?
So what we do is we load up a list of leads. These are usually older internet leads that had raised their hand at one point in time in the past and was interested in a listing or a multitude of reasons depending on where the lead came from, but they're leads. We're loading up 1,000 of these into Mojo, and then the agent's calling through them. The main purpose of this is for them to know like what that feels like. All of the conversations that we have, we then put into our Brivity CRM. Back to your question, because I was starting to get sidetracked. Is
No, it's okay. It's
we
hard.
use Brivity CRM for everything that we do, from our lead generation, like calls, notes, tasks. We manage all of our transactions in Brivity. We run all of our Facebook ads in Brivity. It has its own dialer as well, but we like to keep that clean with people that are like actually interested in real estate or people that know, like, and trust us. So once a year, we actually do a database clean out where we tag these leads as old. So if you go into my database, you'll see like 2,500 leads from 2020, and they're grouped by the year, several thousand from 2019, 2021, etc. We just load up those older leads into Mojo so that we can call through them faster. When you think of calling 1,000 people using that dialer system, they're calling 3 numbers at once using the triple line dialer, and it's still going to take 6 to 8 hours for them to do.
Yeah,
We
especially
buy
when they're
them
first
lunch.
starting out.
Like, we buy them lunch, and my goal is to be in the office with them the whole day. If they're going to be there till 7 p.m., I plan on being there too.
Yeah. What do you
Giving
do with
live
agents
feedback.
that are Oh, that's good. What do you do with agents that are really struggling or just decide at that point that it's not for them? Because you as a team leader, I want to talk about expenses a little bit later, but how does that look like in order to screen to get the right agents in the first time, as opposed to them realizing day 2, oh, I have to make 1,000 calls. Maybe this is not for me.
So we talk about this before they onboard. So it's not like, surprise, you're making 1,000 calls. Like, it's part of the expectations that we
Gotcha.
set. Yeah, exactly.
Go get your pizza.
I don't think that anyone would appreciate that, no matter how motivated they are. And if they did, they're crazy. But it's part of our expectations. So it's a social contract, essentially. Like, you're joining our team. I'm investing all of my time and resources into your business up front. You don't pay anything to join our team. You don't pay for any of these resources. You don't pay for your signs, your business cards, anything. You don't pay for my time. And at the end of the day, we operate as a partnership. So when we have closings, we split them. But up until that point, everyone's working for free for you. And if you're not willing to put in the work that you committed to when we entered into this relationship, then I might want to second guess our relation, like you as a partner. So if it's just a matter of showing up and being like, nah, this isn't for me, that's not okay with me. If after it, and I've had this with agents, is after it, they're like, I don't know about this anymore. And I had one decide to go back to her previous career after doing it. But what I would rather them do is self-discover that 2 weeks into it than go broke because someone's telling them that it doesn't require work. She figured out very fast, and I respected that decision. And the door's open if she ever changes her mind. And then, but the big idea is for them to realize I only got to reach out to 50 to 100 a day to hit my contact goals, not 1,000.
Thank God. I was gonna say, I bet it's like is it like a badge of honor? Because I feel like it's got to be a thing for like the people on the team where it's like, oh yeah, like a shared experience of like, and I feel like that in the military or in general, whenever you share a really hard experience and make it through, it like makes the rest of the community and team stronger. Have you seen that?
When we first started doing them, we noticed that like immediately. Like when we decided we were going to do it, it started from the top. Like, okay, team leader's going to do this thing. The agents on our team that were already on our team committed to do it. We were making a course correction because of the economy that we were going into in 2020. Like we recognized, like we've got to make more contacts. We've got to talk to more people to be able to do this. And what we need to do is we need to find out what level of grit we have to do this job and to be good at it, because those that survive through the hard times are the ones that do really, 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 really well during the good times. And so everyone's done it. And yeah, I mean, it's something that we can talk about, and it's something to be proud of too when a couple months later you have a closing and it's from one of those people you talk to on your second day. And that won't happen unless you just get to it and you start having those conversations.
So, what does your
Totally.
team structure look like? Because you mentioned you have Brevity and you use Mojo. What else do you use and who pays for it? How does that work from the team leader's perspective?
Yeah. So when an agent joins our team, we treat all of our agents as partners. So I would say a fundamental difference between the model of a team that we operate through our partnership with Place and your traditional MREA millionaire real estate agent model is who works for who. And traditionally, you would be a really good sales agent and you would just get too busy. And so you'd hire someone to help you. You'd hire an admin to do your marketing and to do your contract to close. Then you'd hire a buyer's agent to do your buyers. And they weren't allowed to do listings. You got to send your listings to me and I'll pay you a small referral fee, but I'm the listing agent. It's the Landon Stone team. When I started my team, like I didn't have my name on there, and nothing to knock agents that have teams named after them. Sometimes like that name recognition creates a lot of business. And so it's not an ego thing. I just didn't want it to be an ego thing for me. I wanted to attract a different type of agent. And the model that we run now is instead of those agents working for the team leader and to build his prestige or his brand, our team
Or hers?
exists to work, or hers.
Yeah.
Yes. I was talking more about me
Yep.
or hers.
Go on.
You derailed me. But the team is there to work for the agent. It's the agent's business, and they're plugging into us as a business partner to help them run a legitimate real estate business, not just to walk into another career that the income stops when they leave, or something where they have to continue to jump from opportunity to opportunity to see that next ceiling break. Our purpose and my mission is to help agents launch really big real estate businesses. And my vision behind that is that they never have to leave to do it, but they never feel like they have to fly away to see more income.
Totally. I feel like that mindset shift is so powerful. And I hadn't thought about it that way before in depth. And the fact that it's like they're not joining a team to work for the team. It's like they're joining a team because it's a very efficient and like optimal way to immediately leverage all of the pieces that most agents spend their entire time as an agent trying to build.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just a little bit over here.
And
Okay.
most people get too distracted in the weeds. Like, how do I write a contract? I got to know all of these things before I can even reach out to somebody. And this is a big reason why most agents go out of business within the first 2 years, because they go broke before they even have a business. So we did some research, and the average real estate agent is going to close 2 to 3 transactions their first year. To some, that's good. To me, that's not good. It doesn't matter the amount of commission per transaction that you're getting less than one paycheck a quarter. That's not sustainable and it's not predictable. The average agent that's been in the business for 10 years is only closing 10 to 12. That's
Wow, I
one
didn't know
paycheck
that.
a month.
Me
And
neither.
in a
Wow.
downturn,
You're
you could
done,
go a
son.
couple. Yeah, like it's so
You're
easy to
fucking
go out of
done.
business. So, yes,
Wow.
like we're a team and we're splitting commission, but it's our goal to provide so much more that when you look at a net income base, our team members are making more than solo agents. Our team members have the opportunity to make more than other team leaders, but an agent on our teams is going to close 24 transactions or more their first year. And no matter how you chop that up, that's better than the other two scenarios
Totally.
because it's more sustainable. You have a bad month or a bad quarter, you still got paid. You got a bad quarter as an individual agent or someone that puts all of the responsibilities of that business on them. Like you have a bad quarter and you might be looking for a new job soon.
So how much does all of that cost as a team leader? The Brevity, the Mojo, and whatever else you use.
Overhead in general.
Yeah.
What are you looking
Overhead
at?
in general, on our lean months, we're spending over $10,000 a month before ad spend.
What is ad spend?
Ad spend is when we're running Facebook ads, when we're running other types of things. Those can range. We don't spend a lot on them because we have a really big database that agents can dive into. However, when an agent is out there doing activities, we're running ads about it. We want to get their name out there. We want people to see on a bigger scale that this agent is out doing business. An example of that is when an agent signs up to hold an open house, I'm running a Facebook ad around it and I'm putting their face on that ad
Okay.
so that they can
Gotcha.
get exposure. But we only run these ads if they do the work. They
Yeah.
get the leads and they get other things. Our ad spend, I mean, we can spend as little as $200 up to $1,200, $1,500. We're generally, I looked at our ads so far this year. I looked at it at the beginning of the year. We're spending about 57 cents per lead.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And you said 10 grand on a lean month for everything except for your chunk of ad spend. So what does the 10 grand entail?
That is our office. So we're an EXP team. However, we have a physical location. It covers our office. It covers the salaries. It covers all of our marketing that's not ad spend, our signs, photography, business cards, the deliverables that we take on presentations, website hosting, CRM, the dialer. I'd have to have my P&L in front of me to say exactly what
No, it's
all of that
good.
goes. It adds up really quickly.
Totally. I was going to say $10,000 in overhead is low. Like I remember when I was doing the millionaire real estate agent version of a team, like we had at one point $34,000 in overhead every single month. That was without an office. Like that was nasty. But I was going to ask with your, that's a story for another day. But what with your admin, when you say, so what do you, TC, I assume, what does your admin structure look like?
So our admin structures, we have a director of operations, we have an in-office admin, and we also have a virtual assistant. And they're in place running the operations of the team and then the transaction management. So they keep our heads screwed on straight. The agent's got to do all the paperwork, negotiate all the deals, do all the agent side of the work. But when it comes to just confidence, knowing that someone else is going to catch these issues if we're missing a signature or something like that, or I've got someone else making sure that we're not missing anything on the transaction. Everything that the team does from a support standpoint there is to enable the agent to not get distracted from what's most important and what's their highest dollar per hour activities.
How do you divide up your time being from my understanding, you have 6 agents and they all are looking up to you, the team leader. When these agents, after they have their day 2, they do 1,000 freaking calls and they start getting good and they start getting leads and listing appointments, buyer appointments, especially for the first ones, like where they don't know what they're doing. And I presume that they would want someone physically there with them. how do you make sure that you are there? Are you there? Or do you team up another like experienced agent? What does all that look like?
Such a good question. Also very curious.
It's a little bit of both. It's not about me. And I never want it to be about me, even from the team leader standpoint. I'm building a team that one day one of these agents on my team could be the team leader of. The only way to do that is to remove your ego from the equation. And I don't want them looking to me as the end all be all reason that they're on the team. And I don't want them to rely solely on me for answers to their questions and all of that stuff. That's how you can easily create dissatisfaction or disenchantment from an agent when, like, I have responsibilities too. The easy answer is I work my calendar and I live by my calendar. When someone not to the level of, if you want to have a conversation with me, put it on my calendar, but if someone asks me to do something for them and I'm in the middle of something, just put it on my calendar and I'll do it. But when it comes to like that $1,000 day, it's always my goal to be there. I want to be there to provide live feedback. I'm in the office every morning. So the agents that show up and put in the work at the office, they're getting FaceTime with me if they want it. I'm there to provide constructive feedback. A lot of the growth that's happening with an agent is going to happen if they're in the office. They're hearing how how I make phone calls, how I handle situations. They're seeing how other experienced agents on the team are handling their lead generation. Drew on our team shows up every single day. Like, it's weird when he doesn't show up. And that's huge for other agents to see. Drew's been on our team for 3 years and he still shows up every day. And Drew has a lot of other cool stuff that he does in life that isn't like, he has a really good balance from what I see. But one thing he doesn't mess around with is skipping his time in the office to take care of his priorities. I treat that lead generation time that they're doing as really important time that I need to be there for them. And just like them, if I don't have anything else on my calendar, I'm lead generating with them.
And so you're talking about how the power of your calendar. And before we were talking a little bit about planning your day and priorities. Will you take us like through a little bit of how you do that in your world?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. Like, we actually have a model for planning our day and it breaks down into 6 steps. The short of it is I look at my calendar as I'm winding down for the day and I'm already downloading what needs to be done tomorrow. Whatever's left on my plate today, I've found is really, really helpful if I just go ahead and put when I'm going to take care of these things in time blocks on my calendar. So when I'm actually doing something, when I say I'm going to do something, I learned a little while ago that my memory isn't what it used to be. So it has to go on my calendar. And it bothers me sometimes. Like, I feel like I used to have this amazing memory, and I don't know if it's just information overload or if I've just gotten more forgetful over time. But it's really important for me that, like, if I get an email that I need to address, it's going to go on my calendar to a time that I know I can get to it. And that's how I handle those. I learned that I can't just revisit my email because by the time I get back into it, I'm going to have 50 other emails stacked on top of it.
Totally.
But at the end of the day, I'm reviewing that. Like, what haven't I accomplished? And as I'm planning out my tomorrow, I'm revisiting what are the big priorities that I should be doing. As an agent, like, do I have the pendings to support my goals? If I don't have the pendings to support my goals, I better have them on my calendar. That lead generation time, that other stuff. If I've got fires to put out, like, that's okay. A lot of people say, like, there's no such thing as emergencies in real estate. And as true as that is, we still have a level of service to provide our clients. So we got to make sure that certain things get done and they don't get ignored. That's the balance that a lot of people go from one extreme to the other. They won't lead generate because they got to take care of their clients, or they won't take care of their clients because they got to lead generate. Like, just put it on your calendar. But a question that I want to ask myself every day is, should I really be doing this? Is there
Ooh.
someone on my team that could have done this today so that I'm not working late trying to get caught up? And it's a way for me to check into myself every day as to like what's holding me up. For the
That's such a good question to train yourself into thinking. And I know that that's one that like over time in the beginning, I don't know about you, but I really struggled with thinking like that. And then once you hit a wall and it starts hitting the fan, then it becomes that who, not how in your brain. So
I love that. I spent way too much time 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'd get in this growth mode and I'd hit a wall where I got overloaded and I started failing other people, or I got over trusting and other people failed me. But it would always be this never ending cycle. But when I started really taking control of my calendar, it gave me a better gauge. Now, as I'm winding this up tonight, I'm going into tomorrow with a clear head of what needs to get done. It's also on my calendar. So when someone comes to me with, you got a minute, or can you do this for me today? I can tell them yes or no. And for the agents, I hate saying no. But when I fail other people, it's because I say yes too many times. And what I've also found is when I can actually say no, not right now, because I have priorities and commitments that I've already made to myself and to others. And as soon as those are done, like, let's get together, it trains them to do the same thing.
yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us. We'll reshare that.
This has been so good. And I love how we've spoken on so many different topics as far as like cold calling, team building, onboarding, like, and you're still in the weeds doing everything yourself too. So, and leveraging other people for other people's time. What in, as far as the golden nugget, all guests bring a golden nugget. What is that we implement into the agentgoldmine.com? So it could be like a checklist, some sort of like tool, resource, calculator, whatever, what have you. What do you think would be that you have like most on lock out of, I mean, you have a lot of, that you're controlling
Unlock.
very well. What have you, what can you share with us that other people can implement into their business?
Yeah. One of the simplest things that really changed the way that I look at my life as well as I look at business is one of my business partners, Ben Kinney, said that success happens when priorities are achieved in the right order. And that right order is a very often overlooked piece of the equation. And what I mean by that is everything is important, but on what level is it important? When it comes to onboarding, it is very important that you know how to write an offer, but not important until you have a client. So you can't be a successful agent unless you can write and negotiate a great offer, but you can't write and negotiate a great offer until you're really good at getting clients. And so that right order piece really changed. And that evolves over time too. As you get more successful in your business, you still want to apply that. If there's something like launching a property management company or providing more turnkey general contracting services, like I've had to get much more disciplined into how much of my calendar I can allocate to that, which allows me to think more critically on who do I need with me. The property management company, I'm partnering with one of my agents and he's going to help me run it because I would be insane to think that I could do all of this alone. I don't do anything alone. That's my golden nugget is I don't do anything alone. But what I'll upload is this daily 6 steps growth plan and how to plan your day every day to make sure that you not only get everything that's important in business done, but you make the time to take care of yourself too, whether it's your fitness, your hydration, your relationships, all of that stuff is equally important. So how to take those steps every day to do that.
Okay. Yeah, love it. So what is, fast forward, let's say, okay, we kind of have a vision for where you are now. What does the next 6, 12-ish months look like, or even beyond? Like 5 years, what does that look like for you?
I hate that question so much because I, I don't know. And that's why I hate it. So when I got into real estate, I was asked the same question by the broker owner that hired me. Where do you see yourself in 1 or 3 years? And at that time I was, how old am I now? I was
Use
22,
your
20,
fingers.
yeah, I was 22 or 23 years old. And my answer was kind of like, I I'm barely an adult. And what I've done up until my decision to get into real estate puts me in a position that I can't bind myself to these long-term goals. But what I will tell you is I'm going to be the number one agent in your office in 1 year. He laughed at me. I walked out of his office when I left as the number one agent in his office. But what I want to do 3 years, whatever, is I just want to keep growing. I want to always be in a position where I'm doing what I love. Ideally, 3 years from now, we'll have multiple locations. From the property management standpoint, I'm more tied in to exactly where we need to be because we've been spending so much time on a business plan. For real estate wise, I just want to continue bringing on 1 or 2 agents that are going to be growth minded and that want to do really cool things with us, whether that is building a really big sales business, investing in real estate with us, running these other companies. Like that's what I just want to do on a daily basis. And 5 years from now, I want to look back and not regret what I've done. Can that be my answer?
Can definitely be your answer.
We accept.
So what would you say is your biggest vice right now, and how are you working on that?
My biggest vice.
Do you not
Not
like
running.
that question either, Landon?
No.
Landon, you're picky. Dude, because he's like, I already said everything I wanted to say the first time we did this, Shelby.
Yeah.
We didn't make it this far though.
I am curious who you fangirl too, if you'd rather do that one. I love
Who do I
wanting to know.
fangirl? I will say, like, I don't know about a fangirl thing, but one of the most accomplished moments in my career was when I got to partner with Ben Crinny and Chris Suarez with Place, because I built my business around the way that those guys were operating. And my vision of being a turnkey solution for homeowners, like I was a contractor before a real estate agent, and I got my GC license to solve problems that I saw as a real estate agent in this process. I mean, like it's a make or break sometimes with our clients on who we recommend. And I was just really struggling. So I decided let's create something that we can control the quality of service towards and just to continue doing it. But when I started looking at their business, I was like, they're doing this, but like at a really, really, really high level. And I worked really hard to be able to be a part of that organization. So I would say that like I don't I don't fangirl, but to be business partners with those two is probably like the highest level of accomplishment. Looking back 10, 20 years from now, that will be the tipping point of my career. Back to my vices, I don't have a lot anymore. I quit drinking,
You're perfect.
so I don't have that. But oh no, sugar and Red Bulls. There we go. I drink sugar-free Red Bull, but that's really not any better.
Still just the chemicals into the bloodstream. It's fine.
I should see a picture of the floorboard in my truck. It's a problem.
Oh my gosh, that's not good,
Oh.
Landon.
I got wings for days.
Damn. All right, this has been an awesome show. Thank you for joining us. We have a last few questions for you. What
Okay.
out of everything that you use, what is the most favorite app or tool that you utilize?
I have two answers. I like to just not answer your questions directly.
That's okay.
Brivity's the ultimate
Landon,
game changer. I love everything about it. We actually used Brivity several years ago and left to go to a different CRM company because I was just in that shiny object mindset of
Totally.
I had to fix everything, even when it wasn't broken. And we ended up going back to Brivity just because they truly are building a tech platform that's based on the needs of the agent, not on the needs of how can we monetize as much as we can monetize. So from an actual tool standpoint, I love it. From the business standpoint, when I like look at how they run a business and treat their clients, I love it too. A new tool though that I have come across that's free is called Company Cam. I use it for my general contracting now to take project photos. It automatically uploads to a cloud. So I don't have to worry about, I have like 20,000 photos on my phone. It's ridiculous. And they're all about houses that I don't even remember. So I started doing this, and it's amazing from a contracting standpoint of the client gets a timeline every time we take update photos of what's happening. But as a real estate agent, I work with a lot of investors that never see the homes that they buy. I used to take photos and walkthrough videos, then I'd have to upload it to Google Drive, and that would take forever. Or I learned that I could create an iCloud link, but you have to pay for that through Apple. But with Company Cam, it's so easy. I can take all of the walkthrough videos, then I can just share a link over to them, and it's done. It's so quick, and it doesn't ruin my space on my phone. So it'll actually save me money. But then, like, from the listing agent standpoint, it's starting to create a documentation of the listing appointments or the pre-listing appointments that I may be going on to like look at houses that might be good investment properties. And it's going to be excellent in a couple months from now when I start going through my pipeline and I try to find other clients. Like, it'll just be this really organized list of houses. So if you want to have good records on like the houses that you show a client, or like organizing all of the houses that you're walking through for before and after references or whatever, I love Company Cam for that.
Real quick, if you're listening to this on Apple does not make it easy to leave us a rating. So I'm going to break this down for you. In the search tab, type in the Be More Show for Agents. Click on the thumbnail. Then click that middle tab that says reviews and click write a review. Tap on those 5 stars, of course. Let us know how awesome this show is and how it's helped you. And if that's too much for you, I understand, and just switch to Spotify already. Thank you so much, and back to the show.
I love that, and I haven't heard of it, and I'm definitely going to download it after this because my phone looks like yours with like, I have so many, literally from years, I have house photos, and I'm like, why is this here? But yeah. Landon, what events are you going to this year?
This year, I'll probably be going to shareholders. And I will be going to Built How in September. We also have a mastermind that we're doing Veterans Day weekend. That'll be super awesome.
Okay, clearly really excited.
I think that that's everything that I'm doing for 2023. We go to Built How twice a year. I'll be going to Real Estate Rockstars next year, but that's 2024.
Yes, perfect. Cool.
And I'll start going to more EXP events now that it means something at Icon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Hell yeah. And you're definitely going to hit that this year. So that's awesome. How, without the answer being you can't, how can we help you in your business?
You can help me by putting me in touch with anyone that really wants to grow a big real estate business. A lot of people get into sales, but like we've mentioned a couple times, like not everyone knows their numbers. And that's something that people look to me and say, wow, you know your numbers. We got into real estate to run our own businesses. And if you don't know your numbers, you're not running a business. Yeah. You're just running yourself ragged. But how you can help me in my business is just connect me with anyone around the country that would like to work with a team that will really help them build a business. And we can connect them with a local team if they're not located in the Greensboro, High Point area of North Carolina.
For sure. And how can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Landon Stone _real or on Facebook. I don't know where to look on Facebook other than search Landon Stone.
We're going to send all of his links out with the show notes. And it's funny that you also have the underscore because Allie, every time she's like, it's Allie the agent with underscores in between, ALI. Like it's the whole thing.
It's so complicated because someone else took Allie the agent, but they're not even doing anything. I've tried looking for them and they're just a ghost. So I can them off underscores. I know I'm about to. Nah, I really don't care.
Someone owns LandonStone.com too, and I can't find them.
Oh, dude.
Nothing makes me more mad than someone else owning my name. So I own a lot of other people's names now.
Oh my God.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I'm glad I got AllieGarcet.com then.
Dude.
Yeah. If you're out there and you know me and you don't know your URL, I probably own it.
Yeah. So hit him up, find him on the gram, pay for your domain back. And if you want to
20% discount if you mention this.
God. If you want to give us a follow, we're The Shelby Show and Allie the Agent. So that's it for today. You know what to do. Be a bro.
Share the show. Thanks for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep the resources for you. Till next time.